Hey everyone, it's Brennan with BC Labs, and we're back. For those of you who have been waiting, I did promise more 3D printing content, and here it is. As previously covered, I did acquire quite a few Ender printers about a month ago, and I've been looking into opportunities to run them throughout the day to make more parts and possibly offer printing services. And in the process, I've dug into the fire safety of these devices. Now, as many of you are aware, most of these printers have thermal runaway protection. It's pretty common and industry standard at this point. But there is one lesser known point of concern, which is using tinned wires in a terminal block. So this is considered a no-no for various reasons, between the brittleness of the solder as well as over time due to the heat. Solder can cold flow, creating a worse connection. So if you're going to be running these for a long period of time and want to have a worry-free experience, you really should strip back those wires and directly put them in the terminal blocks. Or in my case, I'm going to actually be putting ferrules on the end just for added security. As you guys can see here, I'm able to pull up my schematic thanks to my Quest 3. And this is particularly important because I'm only really worried about the heater wires and the main input wires right now. It's always a good idea to make sure you're completely disconnected, although you can see the 3-prong wire is missing. So although I do a decent bit of wiring, I did not have a ferrule crimper or any ferrules on hand, so I actually had those shipped in for this. And although I have many Creality Ender 3s, I'm going to work on the Ender 3 Max because I'm already in the process of converting it to Klipper, which I'll cover in a different video. So since these wires are actually already coated, it's important just to kind of check that there is no solder left on the end as you clip back, because that just kind of weakens the whole point of the crimp. Now, while I'm doing this, I should note most of these have a polarity. The nozzle heater block I don't think actually does, but the bed heater and the input power both have polarity. So make sure you keep that straight, or pull a schematic up like I did. Now, although the point of this video was to cover specifically the ferrule crimps, another couple things that you should consider if you're going to leave this on for extended periods of time is having some sort of camera system. That could be as simple as a nanny cam, or something like Octoprint or Octopi, or switching the printer over to Klipper. There's various different options that you can use, and pairing that up with a remote triggerable receptacle is a wonderful way to just cover all your bases and make it as safe as possible. I personally had quite a few smart plugs laying around that are usually used for like Christmas decorations. So that's perfect. I can put each printer on one and also have remote monitoring set up. And if I see something going awry, I can always shut it off. Combined with your already, multi-layered fire protection. All things considered, consumer-focused 3D printers have gotten quite safe. They have to be in order to sell in these markets. And these, like a lot of these are sold at Micro Center. So a lot of protections have been put in place at this point. But ultimately, as the user and operator, you kind of have to set what you find comfortable, what you find an acceptable, amount of risk. So the more protections you can put in place, the better, and you just always need to be mindful. So since I plan to run these nonstop in some cases, I want to make sure that everything has been tightened, and you really should do frequent maintenance on your printer. I've always heard recommendations of once a month just checking everything's tight and in place. That can make a huge difference just to make sure nothing is loosened up. And, whether it's on the motherboard or it's actually, just a cable pulling loose or tightening your belts. That can help from anything from print quality all the way to safety. And it's something that I'm trying to be more mindful of now that I have more of these to maintain. When you just have one printer and you occasionally use it, it's a lot easier to let those things slip and, things probably are going to go okay. And that's where I have been in the past. But I'm going to have to be a lot more rigorous going forward. Now, I should mention this particular printer currently has a 4.2.7 board from Creality. There's also other variants, so be mindful it's not going to necessarily be the exact same layout. Definitely make sure everything's tight before you put it all back together. This process can be a bit more annoying if your board came hot glued from the factory. You need to be mindful as you're putting the cover back on, whether you have mods like mine or just the default wiring. It's a little bit of a tight squeeze to get it back in place. Some of the stepper wires were getting in my way. Although a bit dry, I think safety is really important, so hope you guys learned something from this, and stay safe out there. I'll see you guys next time.